Hi everyone, welcome along. This is Breimagined and I am Bree. If you've been here before, welcome back. If it's your first time, welcome aboard. Today we're going to have a look at this piece. It's one that I've actually previously done over and tried to sell, but I got no bites at all. I think the Australian market is not that fond of the green, actually, or perhaps we just haven't caught up with the rest of the world. I don't know. So what I did was I took this piece. Admittedly, it was a little bit shoddy. It was one of the first ones I did, and it had a few just stuff that I didn't like about it. So I fixed it up, repainted it, gave it some new handles, and for the short term, maybe the medium term, I'm going to keep it because it's got a nice spot in my house where it just sits nice. It's got all my junk on it now, so it'll just stay in my house until such time as I get sick of it, and then I'll see if I can offload it on Facebook Marketplace. But you're not here for that. You're here to watch the journey of it going from one thing to another, so let's get going. So this is what it looked like when we first picked it up off the side of the road, and the changes that I made to it I don't actually dislike. It's just that the market didn't like it, and there's a lot of just bits where I haven't finished it properly, so I wanted to do a bit of work on those and clean them up. The other thing I'm doing is changing what the drawers look like. They're going to be inset drawers instead of out. So the first thing that I'm doing here is just building up the front of the drawers so that they sit flush as they're supposed to, or as they will once we get through doing what we're doing. Next thing was to pull the drawers apart, because that was the only way that I could do what I needed to do to the front of them. So I had to fully dismantle them with my very gentle touch in doing that. It gets even gentler. I do actually break bits off it, but there are bits that are necessary to break, so I wasn't too upset, and it didn't change how it all went back together, so that wasn't that much of an issue. What was a bit of an issue was when I started bashing away at this and it broke. Yeah, see, now it's in two pieces. So yeah, I had to fix that. So I put that aside to dry and went on to working on the face of the drawer, which had to be cut back to where the routed bits were around the edges. So I did that with my mega heavy circular saw. Some of this project was a little bit frustrating because I still don't have some of the tools that I need. I really badly need a drop saw or a miter saw. You might know of it as that. And I really need a table saw as well. I've pretty much got everything else now, I think. But if you'd like to help me attain those two little goals. You could go over to my Buy Me a Coffee page and buy me a coffee. I'm saving up all of the money on the Buy Me a Coffee page for those tools. So if you are so inclined, thank you very much for your assistance, and the links are obviously down in the description box. I didn't get any footage of cutting the drawers back. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why that didn't happen, but we did that and then we went on to sanding the front of the drawers. I measured and fitted some trim to go around the front of the drawers. So I'm using my miter box here to cut the trim so that the corners fit together nicely. And I just glued the bits on with some tacky glue, but if I'd not had tacky glue to hand, I would have just used plain old PVA or wood glue. Of course, wiping away any glue residue, because glue is a right pain in the rear to get off your piece once it's dry. So there's a tip for you. Always wipe off any residue of glue that you have with a damp rag. You're welcome. You'll thank me for it. Now once the glue was dry on the front, we put the drawers back together. I'm using, for the first time ever, I'm using my corner clamps to do this, which made this really easy to do. It holds the two pieces together at a right angle, and though they were glued, I used the miter clamps, the corner clamps to hold it in place while I hammered a few nails in as well. Of course, the glue is what holds it all together. The nails just hold it in place until the glue dries. Once the drawers were all back together, it was time to get on with some cleaning. Now, I had waxed all of this green surface previously, so I had to use mineral spirits to lift as much of that off as I could. It lifted some off, but there was still a lot that I ended up sanding off. One of my sanding discs was absolutely choked with green wax. So I could probably have used the mineral spirits over the surface 2 or 3 times rather than just the one that I did. Just so you know, doing this furniture gig is not for the faint-hearted, although that's just dirt on my feet. On my leg here, that's the bruise for where I fell over the cabinet there when I was trying to vacuum it. So yeah, take care out there. Safety first, people. Just moved on to do a scuff sand of the entire thing, and then you'll notice here on the side there's like a gash or a gap or something. So I'm going to fill that. I'm also going to fill along the back where it doesn't look right, and on a lot of other places on the front. Once they were dry, I sanded down the filler until it was all smooth and beautiful. You can see what I mean here about having filler all over the front as well. Pretty much every corner had to be fixed up, and anywhere where there was a gap had to be filled. It was my first effort, one of my very first ones, so you know, you expect there to be some dodgy bits. Here's a fun story. My dad gave me a spraying gun and kit and a compressor and a few other tools as well that go along with that, and I was so excited because I finally had a spray gun, and this is the first opportunity that I've had to use it. So I was going to get in there and spray all of the different layers for this one on with the spray gun. So put the paint in, put the water in, only needed a little bit I thought, and tried to spray it, messed around with all the nozzles, and I just could not get it to spray properly. I couldn't get a nice smooth spray out of it. So I rang my dad. I said, Dad, I can't get this spray to work. And he's like, did you do this? Yes. Did you do that? Yes. I said, I even watered the paint down because, you know, I've heard that that's something that you should do. And he went, oh, yeah, no, that sprayer isn't actually made for water-based paint. Yeah. So in the end I had to paint it all by hand. I did get one coat of the stain blocker on, but it was more trouble than painting, so we'll just have to leave my spray painting adventures to another time. So I did 2 layers of blocker and 2 layers of white paint and 2 layers of white tinted poly. So watching someone paint white over white over white is really boring, so we might move on to something else. I decided to decoupage the inside of the drawers with this kind of ferny, palmy paper that I found. I think it was just at Woolies. It's just some of their napkins. So first of all, I had to separate the two layers. I apply a layer of Mod Podge, stick on the napkin, and fill in the spaces with other bits and pieces of napkin. I didn't want there to be like a specific line that you could see where the join was, so I just improvised a little there. And then the next morning I went in and cut off whatever was left over that shouldn't be there. I built this little platform out of a couple of pieces of wood and some nails just to put the handles on so that I could spray them easily from all directions. But once I'd put the spray, or some of the spray on, I didn't like it, so I ended up putting Dixie Belle gilding wax, gold gilding wax on, and then I didn't really like that so much, so then I went back over that with some brass coloured spray and then a little bit more of the gold spray over the top of that as well, and then a couple of coats of clear. I mentioned before that I mixed a little bit of white in with the top coat for the unit itself. I actually really like doing that. It made it nice, and it just went on really nice and smooth, so I'll be doing that again. As usual, I applied it with a sponge, just a normal household sponge, and it gave it a beautiful sheen on the top, which I really love. I marked where the holes for the handles needed to go, and on the first drawer I drilled one size and it was too small, then I drilled another and it was still too small, so I drilled another, and on the second drawer I got it right the first time. Just a quick look back on what the unit looked like prior to this round of fixing, and then we'll have the big reveal. So thanks for coming along for the ride today. So what do you think? Do you think the green was better, or do you prefer the white? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed watching today, feel free to subscribe, like the video and comment. That just means that YouTube will play more of the same kind of content. And I will look for you in the next video, which, spoilers, is going to have me trying to fix some stained glass. So, see you then.